Steve Skinny Felton of Mushroomhead joins me, Ned, on the Underground. Skinny, how are you, man?
Excellent, man. How are you this morning? And thanks for having me on and, taking the time to do the interview.
Oh, very much looking forward to it. Like I was just saying to you, man, been a fan for many years, but if we throw back to 1993, did you think you'd still be going strong to this day?
It's crazy. Time really does go flying by, man. It flies. And it's crazy to me because I never really looked at it, for that big longevity type of thing. It just, back in 1993, I woke up and said, man, I want to figure out how to pimp out my band every day, how to get it out there to the world, figure out another way to just get it out there and do my thing. And next thing you know, it's 30 years later and I'm just still doing it, but I got to say it's fun to be able to create music and art in this day and age and see all the different changes, especially with technology, to make creating things a little bit easier or a little bit more complicated. But either way, man, it's been a hell of a ride just on that end alone.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, man. And did you have a bit of a backup plan, do you think, if music didn't work out? What do you think you'd be doing, Skinny?
No, I didn't ever really have a backup plan. I was like, all right, well, this is what has my attention fully captured right now. And maybe one day I'll grow out of it. And apparently I haven't yet.
Yeah, you're like me, man, just never growing out of it, which is good, man. This is what we want. So what sort of music did you grow up on, Skinny?
As far as like playing music, I was a very late bloomer. I didn't start playing drums until I was about 16.
Wow.
But, like growing up before that, there wasn't a whole lot. So I'm 53, so I was born in 1970, and where I was, growing up, there wasn't a whole lot of things to latch onto, but, like the heavier, darker stuff like Sabbath, was definitely more, I was more of a Sabbath fan than I was, say, a Led Zeppelin type of fan. But, one of the bands that got me instantly was Kiss.
Yeah.
And I remember being real young and not honestly caring for their music, but I loved the way they looked. And that kind of stuck with me. Some of Alice Cooper's theatrics, again, some of his songs were like, even as a kid, I was like, whatever. But I liked the creepiness and the vibe of it. So some of those things definitely stuck with me. And then I got into more like, like in the teenage angst years, it was more like hardcore, like punk crossover shit, like DRI or Dayglow Abortions or, like that kind of Crumbsuckers, The Accused, shit, Cro-Mag, like shit like that, Minor Threat. I was into a lot of that kind of stuff early on. Just that whole angst attitude,
Yeah, definitely.
Then it turned into like gabber and hardcore techno and hip hop, like just because electronic sounds were starting to become a thing.
Oh, man, and you guys really innovate as Mushroomhead, Skinny. Like, what does it mean to you to, like, you've really paved the way for many, like, with your whole look and sound. How does that make you feel?
It's amazing that we've been able to entertain ourselves and other people and have the ability to influence others as far as and inspire ourselves for this long. It just goes, with the hand in hand with the passion for the craft. And a lot of musicians, I'm sure, feel the same way, that it's just in them and they have to get this stuff out of them. So, again, very fortunate to make music and art for a living.
Yeah, 100%, man. And you've never been afraid to sort of push the boundaries either and try something new, which is what I love about you, Guy. And to the, the woman vocalist in Jackie LaPonza, I think I got that right. How did this come about?
Yeah, well, her and I have been friends for a long, long time, coming up on 20 years at this point. But,
nice.
She's got a great stage presence and a great voice, and she likes a lot of the same kind of things. So when we first started working with her, she was just like a guest doing like, one song. And then we started working with her in the studio, and things just, clicked so well that we're like, we should try some of this live. And the next thing you know, like, as we're writing, we're like, hey, we should bring Jackie in on this one, just to hear the sonic texture and the quality of what she brings to the table. And man, once we started doing it, we just couldn't get enough. I mean, certain songs just were like, wow, we got to hear her voice on this. So, it just kind of went hand in hand. And a lot of it, too, is people's scheduling and time and what they've got going on in their lives. So again, we were very fortunate to have her a part of this one.
Oh man, love it right there. And like, you've had a bunch of lineup changes over the years, and Dave back in the band. Is that cool? Like, after 12 years, is it just like old times there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. And, you know, he's like kind of part-time special guest very much. He's only on a couple songs on the album, and he'll be, you know, hopefully able to do, you know, a lot more touring with us, but we'll see. As far as we know, he is going to join us for the Incarceration Festival, but he won't be able to do the European touring. Again, you know, we have a lot of people and a lot of scheduling, but I'll tell you, when it came to working on the new album with him, man, yeah, it was just like nothing had ever changed. And one of the coolest things that I really remember most was our first recording experience where we sat down together, and we didn't have anything planned out. We didn't discuss nothing. We just sat down and jammed for about a half hour and then recorded it and sat back and listened to it. And that ended up turning into the first track on the new album, which is Eye to Eye.
Eye to Eye, yeah.
Yeah, so the energy and the vibe was just there from the start, and it was just very natural and spontaneous.
Yeah, so tell us about this album, Skinny. Call the Devil, first album in 4 years. What was your sort of approach going into it this time around?
Well, I think this one definitely has a little bit of that post-COVID vibe, where everyone's like, you know, a little bit, the energy is high, everyone's anxious to get all this stuff out. There's like a, you know, moments of hope. There's a little bit of that post-drama and, you know, doom in it as well, as far as, you know, and which mimics a lot of the other Mushroomhead records. But yeah, this one had a hunger and a passion because of COVID, you know, because of the pandemic, not kind of stripping us that ability from performing the album before and just kind of pulling the rug out from everything. So when we started sitting down and writing, we just felt hungrier.
Oh yeah, man, I love that. It's got a super diverse sound too. Like, there's melodic songs on there, heavy, the works. Is this sort of your intention for Mushroomhead moving forward, or is it just play it by ear sort of thing?
Yeah, it is very experimental and play it by ear or play it by the emotion of the day or the emotion of the session. You know, if you're not, like we say it all the time, we're big fans of a lot of things, but we don't always watch horror movies, or we don't always watch comedy movies. You know, we don't always listen to metal, and we don't always listen to classical. So, you know, it's that kind of, we just kind of run it day by day or week by week, session by session of kind of the emotion, and we kind of read the room. And sometimes that doom and gloom will, you know, once you do enough of that and you start getting into it, it pulls you out. And the next one, you're like, oh man, we need to do something aggressive now, you know, and it gets you in the mood to do something else.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. Well, the new mask and everything too, the new look is pretty devastating. Who's behind that, Skinny?
Thank you, man. You know, a lot of us it's very collaborative, and we try to just kind of not alienate our fan base or ourselves and change up things too much, but we get a lot of new guys. But speaking of new guys, our new guitar player, Joe Grohl, he's also like a great special effects artist. So he sculpted, I think, 6 out of 9 of the new masks.
Oh, really? There you go.
Yeah, and we do all that stuff in-house here. And then the other 3 were sculpted by another guy that we worked with for many years, named Jordan Patton. And he's another great special effects guy. So we'll just kind of talk about things and sketch things out or send pictures back and forth, whether it's a video game or a past mask reference or a movie. And we just try to always incorporate the brand, which is the X-Base, into it as well.
Oh man, yeah, it's excellent. I love the new look, man, and the new album is fantastic. And Skinny, you're majorly behind this. You've produced most of the albums, or is it all of the albums throughout? You're very much a jack of all trades. Yeah,
for the most part, I've done wore the hat on the producer end for the majority of them. Not all of it, but it's been I do wear a lot of hats, or a lot of masks, depending on how you look at it, right?
Yeah, I love that, man. Alrighty, man. So is there any new videos or anything like that in the works for the album, Skinny?
Well, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? We just released the prepackaged video. So we got 2 out right now, Fall in Line and prepackaged. If you haven't checked them out, go to the Napalm YouTube channel and get an eyeball on them. There's definitely plenty to look at for everyone. And hopefully, if things go right, we'll get into a third single, but I won't know until we get off this next tour.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, well, like your visual, are you behind the visuals on those as well, Skinny? Speaking of those wearing hats or masks or whatever, do you have a lot to do with the, filming video side of things?
Yeah, I get to wear the director hat a lot in that one as well. And just to decide what cameras, lenses, angles, and shots work hand in hand with, the cinematographers and the lighting designers as best as I can. It's one of the reasons you rarely see me in the videos, because I'm on the other side of the camera.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense right there. And it made me think, man, like, you've obviously got that dark, gloomy side of things. You're saying before you don't just watch horror and comedy, you've got to whatever. Have you ever thought about delving into the directing side of things movie-wise?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We actually have some little subplots that we've been kind of thinking about, maybe trying to turn into episodes and figuring out something that incorporates some music and, maybe it reads more like a play or an opera and there's little acts that go together. We're not sure, but we are dabbling pretty hardcore.
Oh, really? So is that something possibly to look at in the near future, or still a bit of case of watch this space?
Yeah, it's gonna take a minute to evolve, and I think once it does, if it keeps our attention, it'll just do its own thing. So, but all the resources are there, and we are discussing it pretty hardcore.
Oh, that is awesome to hear, Skinny. So you've got Europe and the UK in August, USA in October tour-wise. Is there any word on returning to Australia?
We are looking into it immediately. Obviously, It wouldn't be until 2025, but we want to get there as soon as possible.
Oh, nice, man. Well, that would be something that we'd be very much excited to see. Do you have fond memories from down here, Skinny?
Yeah, I have to say that the Soundwave 2014 that we were part of was one of the coolest trips I've ever been on, as far as a festival tour. It was kind of a blur because we played constantly, but man, it was just a really good vibe. Everyone was in a great mood, from the fans to the bands to the crew, and I wasn't too drunk, so I do remember quite a bit of it. Yeah, I remember quite a bit of it, and we were really fortunate. The weather was really nice. Even in Perth, it wasn't too humid that day. It was really, really beautiful. So, again, one of my fond memories of touring was that Soundwave 2014, and man, we would love to come back.
Oh, yeah. Well, fingers crossed. 2025, look out, man. All right, let's switch things up to you personally, Skinny. Do you have what's sort of like a good downtime for you outside of music?
It all kinds of goes right together with it, because, like I said, getting into cinematography and, nerding out with cameras and lenses, and then getting into the post-production end and getting into things like Photoshop and After Effects and, editing software and getting into that type of stuff. It's just an extension to the craft, I guess. So I'm always working on something or just trying to create. Other than that, I like getting out on a mountain bike every now and again, and I still like smoking weed.
There you go. All right, mountain bike riding and smoking weed. Love it. Downtime for Skinny. And before I let you go, man, I want to get a recommendation for you, whether it be a movie, another band that you checked out, or something cool for Mushroomhead fans that Skinny recommends.
Well, movie-wise, I haven't seen anything new that really jumped out at me in a while, but I revisited Pan's Labyrinth not too long ago, and boy, is that a dark movie. When you look at all the parallel things that are going on, the story that they're really telling, that the monsters, fairy tale monsters, imaginary monsters are nothing compared to how scary humans and people actually are. So that's a fun little story, Pan's Labyrinth. And then musically, man, I have been on a Pussifer kick. I listen to that Money Shot record at least once a day for the last couple months.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is a good one, man. Well, thank you so much, Skinny. Really appreciate you taking time out, man. Call the Devil is heading our way August the 9th through Napalm Records. Pre-order it now. Hit these guys up on Facebook and Instagram at Mushroomhead Official. Skinny, thanks so much for taking time out, man. Really appreciate it.
Right on, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Have a wonderful day.